Saturday, August 2nd, 2025. We had a target practice today, and for the first time since I killed the dog, we found another corpse. We all saw it this time. An old woman, naked, maggoty, half-eaten, and beyond disgusting. That did it for Aura Moss. She says she won't do any more target shooting. Not ever. I tried talking to her, but she says it's the men's job to protect us anyway. She says women shouldn't have to practice with guns. What if you have to protect your younger sisters and brothers? I asked her. She has to babysit them often enough. I already know enough to do that, she said. You get rusty without practice, I said. I'm not going out again, she insisted. It's none of your business. I don't have to go. I couldn't move her. She was afraid, and that made her defensive. Dad said I should have waited until the memory of the corpse faded, then tried to convince her. He's right, I guess. It's the Moss attitude that gets me. Richard Moss lets his wives and daughters pull things like this. He works them like slaves in his gardens and rabbit-raising operation and around the house, but he lets them pretend they're ladies when it comes to any community effort. If they don't want to do their part, he always backs them up. This is dangerous and stupid. It's a breeding ground for resentment. No Moss woman has ever stood a watch. I'm not the only one who's noticed. The two oldest Payne kids went with us for the first time. Bad luck for them. They weren't scared off, though. Doyle and Margaret. There's a toughness to them. They're all right. Their Uncle Wardell Parrish hadn't wanted them to go. He had made nasty comments about Dad's ego, about private armies and vigilantes, and about his taxes, how he had paid enough in his life to have a right to depend on the police to protect him. Blah, blah, blah. He's a strange, solitary, whiny man. I've heard that he used to be wealthy. Dad agrees with me that he can't be trusted, but he's not Doyle and Margaret's father, and their mother Rosalie Payne doesn't like anyone telling her how to raise her 5 kids. The only power she has in the world is her authority over her children and her money. She does have a little money, inherited from her parents. Her brother has somehow lost his, so his trying to tell her what to do or what she shouldn't let her kids do was a dumb move. He should have known better, though for the kids' sake, I'm glad he didn't. My brother Keith begged to go with us as usual. He'll turn 13 in a few days, August 14th, and the thought of waiting 2 more years until he's 15 must seem impossible to him. I understand that. Waiting is terrible. Waiting to be older is worse than other kinds of waiting because there's nothing you can do to make it happen faster. Poor Keith. Poor me. At least Dad lets Keith shoot at birds and squirrels with the family BB gun, but Keith still complains. It's not fair, he said today for the 20th or 30th time. Lauren's a girl, and you let her go. You always let her do things. I could learn to help you guard and scare off robbers. He had once made the mistake of offering to help shoot robbers instead of scaring them off, and Dad all but preached him a sermon. Dad almost never hits us, but he can be scary without lifting a finger. Keith didn't go today, of course, and our practice went all right until we found the corpse. We didn't see any dogs this time. Most upsetting to me, though, there were a few more rag, stick, cardboard, and palm frond shacks along the way into the hills along River Street. There always seems to be more. They've never bothered us beyond begging and cursing, but they always stare so. It gets harder to ride past them. They're living skeletons, some of them, skin and bones and a few teeth. They eat whatever they can find up there. Sometimes I dream about the way they stare at us. Back at home, my brother Keith slipped out of the neighborhood, out through the front gates and away. He stole Corey's key and took off on his own. Dad and I didn't know until we got home. Keith was still gone, and by then Corey knew he must be outside. She had checked with others in the neighborhood, and two of the Dunn kids, twins Allison and Marie, age 6, said they saw him go out the gate. That was when Corey went home and discovered that her key was gone. Dad, tired and angry and scared, was going to go right back out to look for him, but Keith got home just as Dad was leaving. Corey, Marcus, and I had gone to the front porch with Dad, all three of us speculating about where Keith had gone, and Marcus and I volunteering to go with Dad to help search. It was almost dark. "You get back in that house and stay there," Dad said. "It's bad enough to have one of you out there." He checked the submachine gun, made sure it was fully loaded. "Dad, look," I said. I had spotted something moving 3 houses down. Quick, shadowy movement along the Garfield porch. I didn't know it was Keith. I was attracted by its furtiveness. Someone was sneaking around, trying to hide. Dad was quick enough to see the movement before it was hidden by the Garfield house. He got up at once, took the gun, and went to check. The rest of us watched and waited. Moments later, Corey said she heard an odd noise in the house. I was too focused on Dad and what was going on outside to hear what she heard or to pay any attention to her. She went in. Marcus and I were still on the porch when she screamed. Marcus and I glanced at each other, then at the front door. Marcus lunged for the door. I yelled for Dad. Dad was out of sight, but I heard him answer my call. "Come quick," I shouted. Then I ran into the house. Corey, Marcus, Bennett, and Gregory were in the kitchen, clustered around Keith. Keith was sprawled, panting on the floor, wearing only his underpants. He was scraped and bruised, bleeding and filthy. Corey knelt beside him, examining him, questioning him, crying. "What happened to you? Who did this? Why did you go outside? Where are your clothes? What? Where's the key you stole?" Dad cut in. "Did they take it from you?" Everyone jumped, looked up at Dad, then down at Keith. "I couldn't help it," Keith said, still panting. "I couldn't, Daddy. There were 5 guys. So they got the key." Keith nodded, careful not to meet Dad's eyes. Dad turned and strode out of the house, almost at a run. It was too late now to get George or Brian's shoe to change the gate lock. That would have to be done tomorrow, and new keys made and passed out. I thought Dad must be going out to warn people and to put more watchers on duty. I wanted to offer to help alert people, but I didn't. Dad looked too angry to accept help from one of his kids right then, and when he got back, Keith was in for it. Was he ever in for it? A pair of pants gone, and a shirt, and a pair of shoes. Corey had never been willing to let us run around barefoot the way a lot of kids did, except in the house. Her definitions of being civilized did not involve dirty, heavily calloused feet any more than they involved dirty, diseased skin. Shoes were expensive, and we were always growing out of ours, but Corey insisted. Each of us had at least 1 pair of wearable shoes, in spite of what they cost, and they cost a lot. Now money would have to be found to get an extra pair for Keith. Keith curled up on the floor, smudging the tile with blood from his nose and mouth, hugging himself and crying now that Dad was gone. It took Corey 2 or 3 minutes to get him up and half carry him to the bathroom. I tried to help her, but she stared at me like I was the one who beat him up, so I let them alone. It wasn't as though I wanted to help. I just thought I should. Keith was in real pain, and it was hard for me to endure sharing it. I cleaned up the blood so no one would slip in it or track it around. Then I fixed dinner, ate, fed the 3 younger boys, and put the rest aside for Dad, Corey, and Keith.